Hi, I'm Owen from Square Balloon, and today we're going to talk about what happens if you ever get this dreaded, sorry, there was a problem we could not recover from, and it's a 500 error. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about all the different reasons that it could happen, and some of the solutions that we could have. So hopefully, this happens to be quite a lot. So hopefully this helps quite a lot of people because initially the error is not very clear at all, and it's a little bit frustrating when you're thinking, well, give me a clue. I'm going to teach you how to get that clue. But before I get started, if you find this useful, please subscribe, please like, please leave a comment. If you have any questions, leave a comment for sure. And if you don't mind sharing it, then share as well. Let's get started. So here's a screen I've got at the moment. And it's not giving us much information. It's telling us there's a 500 error, and whoops, it looks like something went wrong. Well, I can tell something went wrong. That's not very helpful at all. So first things first, let me clean my glasses so I can see. Please hold. So first things first, we're gonna. There's a few things we can do to get more information. So let's talk you through how to get that first. When you're on this screen, chances are, if you're seeing this screen here, on the admin, you're also seeing the same screen. So you can't log in. How do you get around this problem? So first things first, you can probably, I hope, still FTP in. And if you can find your configuration file here, I'm going to edit it. And then if I pull my code editor onto the screen, what you'll see is I've got the Joomla configuration. First thing I want to do is get more information, just turn on debug. So I'll search in debug, and you can see here it's false. Now I'll just turn that, I'll type true, and I will save it, and then I will upload it. And you see that happened twice there, which was unusual. So now, if I go back and I do this, you'll see that looks like nothing happened. So if I now close that and I reopen it, you'll see this happens sometimes. So debug, and you'll see it still says false, and I want to say true. So this is the first thing. Don't assume that because FileZilla has told you that it has uploaded that it has, especially if you see that thing where it's uploading it twice in a row, doing something weird like that. So majority of the time it will work, sometimes it won't. In those cases, what I'd advise you to do is go to your host, go into your file manager, and then edit it here. So what we can see here is debug, and see it says false, so I'll turn that to true. I'll now save that, I'll close it, and I'll open it again, sanity check. Let's have a look. Debug. Okay, and now it is true. And now if we also open this one, we'll see that it's probably, we'll refresh it first, and then we will, there it is. Now if we edit it, see debug is true. So FTP in this case isn't working. I knew it wasn't. I left it there as an example so I could show you that if that ever happens, reopen it, close it and reopen it and see if it's actually changed, because if it hasn't, nothing's happening. So now let's refresh this and see what happens. So now we see a shed load more information. And often this will give you a very big clue as to what the problem is so you can solve it kind of quickly. So first thing it's saying is some sort of problem with Redis or Redis or however you pronounce that. So I have this turned on in my, have I got this turned on in my PHP settings? So I have got it turned on in my PHP settings. So now let's have a look at Redis here. If I disable it, takes a while. And now I re-enable it because I want to get this information here. And it's just telling me where the Redis sock is. If I now check the configuration, Redis server handler sock is here. So chances are, there you go, that's wrong. So I hit save now, and then I refresh this again. But it's working. So that was very quick to give me a clue as to what was wrong. Now, I had updated the Redis or Redis sock or whatever you call it. For some reason it hadn't saved very well, and that was the problem I was having. So great, now we solved that problem. However, that doesn't always help you solve the problem. So I will just go back and I will cause the error again deliberately. Here's my sock. I'll just add in a few extra letters here. Oh no, the sock's the wrong place. Okay, broken again. So what you're looking for on here, because Redis is probably an unusual exception that I've just caused. Not everyone's using it, and I understand that. And it could easily be caused by a plugin or a component or a module or anything else. It's often could also be like a server setting that's incorrect as well. So might not be anything that you did, might be something else. But let's go through a bit of troubleshooting anyway. So first thing, when you come to this screen, I obviously knew that it was a Redis error, whatever we're going to call it. I should just stick with one. But this here will give you a bit of a clue, the location. So if this location is showing me a component or a plugin or a module, then that could easily be the problem. So first thing I would do is if it was like I'll leave that open. Just imagine it's a plugin, for example, it's causing me a problem. I'm going to say it's a system plugin. I will say it's the action logs plugin. So what I can do is I can just rename this. And if I just put a couple of dashes in front of it so I can name it back later if I need to, that will mean that that plugin is not working. So if I now get rid of Spot, save it again so my system is working, and then I log into the back end, what we'll see if we look for plugins, action log system plugin, it is still there, which wasn't what I was expecting. Let's rename it. In fact, let's see if I can click on it. Yeah, right, so I couldn't click on it because I've renamed that folder. So whatever that folder, whatever that plugin was doing, because I've renamed it, it's not accessible, so it's not doing it anymore. That's the basic, like the quick way to stop it doing it. You can also do it a different way. You can also go into phpMyAdmin. You can also click into here and then I look in plugins. Huh? Plugins not there. Maybe it's in extensions, is it? Extensions maybe ID. Okay. So you see the action log here for Joomla and it's currently enabled. I could just change this to 0. Could try to. Right, so now that is disabled, and now if I go back to my file manager and I rename this so it's the usual thing again, and now if I go in here, oh god damn it, why isn't that disabled? Is it the wrong one? Maybe it's the wrong one. Yeah, it's this one that I've disabled. So you can see I've disabled it. So that would stop that from taking action now just by doing that in the database. If I now enable it and then save and close and then I just refresh this one, I've got to do this like percent and then do action, and that'll do things that are similar to action. And now if we look at the action log, you will see enabled is 1 again. So that's another way you could turn an extension on or off. I think the database part is a little messier and also a little riskier, which is why I prefer just to rename it. And also, there's quite a lot of plugins for action loggers you could see, so you might need to try a lot of different ones to get it working. So that might be another thing. If you're doing all of them, the database might be a little quicker, but as I said, it's a little riskier. So that is another thing that I would check. Now, if we also go into File Manager again, and we go back into config, we've got debug set on, so that's kind of helpful, but error reporting can also be helpful here. So if I took this to maximum, yes, I think it's spelled right, and then I put this again, oh, we're going to break it again. So this won't show any errors, but if this was PHP causing the problem, like a PHP error of some sort, the error reporting might show something that's helpful. Most likely debugging would help you first, but after that error reporting, it's worth having a look at as well. I will fix it again. Okay, so what else could we try? There's plenty of things that we could look at which could be causing these problems, and I intend this to be quite a thorough video, so I'm going to go through them all. Quite a lot of the time, I have found the PHP version could be an issue. So if I just go back and show you that it's working, if I now set this to PHP 5.6, which Joomla 5 will not work with, and then I refresh, whoops, I need 8.1 or newer. So that does tell you the error message. So you probably don't need debugging for that particular instance. But even so, it would be worth knowing that that could be the problem. I think I had it on 8.3, can't remember, it doesn't matter. So another thing is PHP settings don't normally cause a 500 error, but it should be aware of some of the extensions that are required. So I don't know if you have this screen in your hosting, but I do in mine, and I'll talk you through some of these things that's useful. So you should have file info turned on. It's not, so I'll turn that on. In a lot of cases, you might need GD library. I don't think, in fact, I do think Joomla needs it nowadays, so you should turn that on. You also need zip. This is when you're installing stuff and you're using a zip, for sure you need zip, or updating it downloads a zip, right? So you need that. You need intl. That's a Joomla thing again. Obviously, if any of these that I've got ticked by default are JSON and stuff, I would add them on. MySQL, obviously you need MySQL turned on. So if I turn that on, it turns on ND as well, which is fine. If you're using opcache and it's not turned on, that could break things. What else have we got? Obviously, if you're using Redis and it's not turned on, then just turn it on. In this case, I actually do need it on, don't I? Because I've just turned it on a minute ago. And then I think that's everything. I think sometimes you need sockets and sodium on. It won't hurt me, I'll just turn them on quickly. And if you want to find out where to find those things, I believe there is a... I don't think this is it. How do you find it? Oh, that's not it. Where's the recommended extensions? There's a page with this information on it. This is Joomla 3, so I'm not going to do that. What is it called? I will find it before I post this video. No, it's not there. I have got that link somewhere. I will find it and I will do it. But a lot of the time it won't be the 500 error. Still recommended configuration. What I've also seen is the database being wrong, causing a problem. Oh, don't forget if you're doing your PHP options. What's going on here? Is it down it? Yeah, if you're doing your PHP options while we're here, I will tell you that output buffering should be set to off. And from what I can gather, it's because Joomla is using output buffering already, so having it turned on will mean it's like duplicating the work, so it's just not necessary. I don't think it causes a huge issue or crashing or break-in or anything like that. Some cases at max execution time you might want higher, especially for something like Utheme Pro if you're using that template. Other templates do exist, so check their individual requirements. Those are the two things required for mine. Let me just check that it works. Yep, it's fine, great. Or else we'll be troubleshooting different things. So yeah, another thing that could cause a problem would be database username and password being wrong. So let me just show you what happens with that. So I'm going to put debug to false and error reporting to none, just so I show you what happens from average user. And then db, I'm just going to add a couple of dashes on the end. Okay, now if I go here, right, so it doesn't say there's a database error. It just tells you there's a problem you couldn't recover from. Yeah, I think it'd be a lot more helpful if it told you that, but it doesn't. So if I now turn on debug, and now I show you that. So now it's saying there's a MySQL exception. That gives you a little bit of a clue that something is going wrong. Unfortunately, it doesn't really tell you that it's a wrong username, password, or database entry. So if I look here, access denied. So down the bottom is giving me a bit of a clue. Anyway, access denied would generally mean you've got the wrong username, password, or whatever else. So if I then remove that, let's just check what happens with the user. If I change that bit to be wrong, does it give me a different error message? So that one said no database was selected here. And now it says the object is not fully initialized. Again, it's not giving me like a really crystal clear, but it still says access denied here. So that gives me some idea that it's one of the three. And if I now do that and do password, and I will just stick a couple of dashes on the end of that one. Let's just check if that one gives us a different error message. So again, it's not instantiated and same problem. So any of those things would cause exactly the same outcome. And obviously, once I've done it correctly again, we're back. So that's another thing you could check. Another problem that sometimes causes, I don't think it normally causes a 500 error, but it possibly could do. I don't need that one. Is the htaccess file. So the easiest way, you can open up your htaccess file and have a look at it. You can say, can I spot any errors? Is there something here that I've just added? Or admin tools or another tool that I'm using has added. I've seen it before with JCH Optimize, add some stuff. There's loads of things. Sometimes when you review this, you realize that two plugins are doing the same thing. So I've seen that admin tools and JCH Optimize do roughly the same thing in slightly different ways, and one probably is better than the other, but they're still doing it twice. So you really don't want that. So that would be something to look at. But the easiest way I have found to troubleshoot htaccess is I rename it. I keep my old version because I might need it one day. I don't delete it. And then what you'll find is in Joomla, there's this htaccess text. And that is like the original htaccess document. It's really, really useful that they supply that. I would make a copy of it if I was you because you might need it again in the future. But even if you do, you can always get it from the Joomla download from the official repository. So don't go anywhere else. Always go to joomla.org, go to downloads, and if you just grab this download, expand the zip, and then look for that htaccess file, you'll find it there. Now, if I copy it, it won't do that because I've got to rename it. Well, anyway, it won't do it because I've got to rename it, but what you see is it's the original htaccess that comes with Joomla. So you know for a fact it works because this is the Joomla one that comes with the Joomla initially. So if I just rename this one, I get rid of that and I put a dot at the front, so it's now .htaccess. And now when I do it, you'll see that it works, which is great. So if you're having a problem and it's htaccess related, it's really, really quick to test it. You just rename your one and then use the default Joomla one. And if it works, you know it's htaccess problem. And if it still doesn't work, it's probably not a htaccess problem. So I'll just rename this one back to text, so we still have it, and I will use my original one because that was fine and working. Okay, so now we've checked htaccess. So the other thing you could do is I have seen this as a problem before, where I have had, see, I've created a U theme and I've created a child theme. So Joomla now has child themes, and in here I have had an error PHP. I've seen that cause a problem. If it's just to troubleshoot it, what you would do is you would just rename it. Same as most things. Don't delete it, rename it, refresh your site. If it starts working, it's probably that file that's the problem. Maybe you could check the original file and see has your child theme got something error in it, or has something updated in the original file which is better than what you've got. And if you need to make changes to error, why don't you replicate the original one, which would be in this file. If there's been an update or something, you'd find the error file there. Duplicate it, put it into your child theme, and then compare the two and add the changes back into that one. That might help you to resolve that problem if that's the case. So another thing you could do is check your error log files in your server. So have we got any error logs here? Oh yeah, here it is. So my server, each host is different. My server creates a file called error_log. Other servers would have it in the cPanel or in other places that you can find it. I can't tell you that. The only person who can is your host, so go to them. But if you have a look, you can see there are error logs here: PHP error, allowed memory size of whatever exhausted. So this, I know for a fact what this is, and this is caused by like a loop, basically, which used up all the memory because it was looping and it was adding video files in, so the huge files, and it looped over and over again and it broke it. If I didn't know what was causing it, I could go and have a look and work out what this was. And in that case, the error PHP is showing up, so there's a good chance that error PHP might have been a bit of a problem there. It's not happening anymore, so I don't remember. But that's another thing to do, is check your error logs. These are PHP error logs. Sometimes an error 500 won't appear in your PHP error log because it's not really a PHP error sometimes. It's like a different type of error. So it might not appear in your PHP error log, but it's worth looking all the same. It might give you a clue as to a plugin that's playing up. You should check them kind of regularly anyway, in case there's a plugin. Sometimes things aren't visible. There's errors happening, but they don't necessarily get reported to you because things are working and you don't notice. What else we got? Of course, missing PHP errors. Oh, no, here you go. There's the thing that I need. This is the technical requirements, is it? Oh no, that is the technical requirements. So these are the optional requirements. So you can see when I go to my PHP, and I was back here in my PHP versions, and I have this option in my cPanel. You may not in yours, but maybe if not, I can show you another way to do this. Here's all the modules for PHP that I've got access to. So you can see here, bzip2, so it's bzip basically. I've got it turned on, so that's a fine. Gzip and zip, so I've got zip turned on because we checked that earlier. What about gzip? I don't have an option for that, so I would have to ask my host how do I turn that on. Or it may already be on, but worth checking. And it's important to remember I don't need all of these turned on. So this Redis I was showing you earlier, if I'm using Redis, I need it turned on. If I'm not, I don't need it turned on. Because of these are all caching mechanisms, I don't need memcached and memcache and Redis. I don't need all of them on. I just need the one I'm using on. So that would really depend on what you are trying to do. As far as I'm aware, Redis is the best one of them, but I haven't looked it up in a while. Something may have improved, or there may be a new one, or maybe something better. So do look it up. I would genuinely look up what's the best one and just use that one and don't worry about the others. Some of the others are a lot older, like APC and Memcache. They've been around for years, so they're pretty solid. Client adapters again. So I did turn on socket if you remember. Stream and curl. So I will turn them on. There's curl. And have I got stream? I haven't got stream here, so I might ask my host about that. I don't know what it does, so right, so there you go. I need fopen and allow URL fopen enabled. If these aren't turned on, they're probably in your PHP ini file, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. Jcrypt requires mcrypt and OpenSSL. So have I got mcrypt here? Yes, I have. I'll add it. And OpenSSL is there. Great. Anyway, I'm not going to go through them all, but you get the idea. I will add this in the bottom of the notes of the video so you can find this link easily because I can never find it. Okay, what else have we got? Oh, well, yeah, like ask your host. If you're stuck, just ask your host. You're paying for hosting. Chances are they have more information than you do anyway. Just ask them. Maybe raising a ticket is a quick way to do this rather than going through all of these steps. Should have said it at the beginning, really. Also, Like, think logically. What have you just been working on? What have you just changed? Have you just installed something? Maybe that's broken it. In which case, if I had just installed a component, I guess what I would be thinking is probably, like I've just installed a new component. Why don't I go into the database and disable it, or into the folders and rename it, or a plugin or whatever? Or perhaps I haven't just installed one, but perhaps I've made some settings changes, or perhaps I've just created an override. Maybe if I've created an override, maybe that's causing the problem. Maybe I rename my override. So obviously, if you want to do that, um, I'll show you in FileZilla this time rather than in the other one. So I'm going to go to templates. So this is, I probably prefer to do this than the cPanel normally, although it isn't working, so I didn't. And in your templates, there's a HTML folder. Once I'm in that, you'll see these are all overrides. So if I go into com content, which is like articles basically is com content, I go into there, and if I go into article, which is, so you can see like this is the archived view, the article view, the category view, the featured view. So now I'm in here and I see default. And so I might have this, maybe I just worked on this, maybe I just done something and there's a PHP nonsense in there or whatever it is, and I can just, again, I don't like to delete, so I just rename in case I need it in the future. So there you go. That's what I would do to just to rule out. So basically, if I do that, right, so I'm doing this, I'm going back to my page, I'm refreshing it. Oh great, now it's working. Okay, it's probably that then, isn't it? So now I would like redo the work, check the file, see what's in there, see if there's a problem, or if I really am not experienced and I don't know the problem, I might just start again, or just get rid of that override and just live with it. But the whole idea is going through a process of elimination and working out exactly what it is. So that's overrides. What else I got on my list? Oh, gzip, whatever you want to call it. If I go to File Manager again, in fact, I'll go to File Manager. It's just quick. I'm in my configuration. I'm editing, looking for gzip. So it's on false, right? If I had this on true, on some server configurations, it can cause an error 500. I don't know if it's because it's double gazipping or something like that. But I think if you're going to do it, you also need to have the PHP module. So perhaps if you're doing zip and you don't have it turned on, then that is an issue which could be causing it. So I don't have an option here for it. So so that might be something. Have I got PHP ini somewhere? Probably in File Manager somewhere. So I'll just show you that. If those options are not there, sometimes you have a PHP ini file. You will have to check with your host how this works. Normally, I think you can just add it in here and add them, but not always. Some hosts prefer you to do it in PHP ini, and some prefer you not to. Have I got a local installation or something that I can show you on? Maybe. Give me a second and I'll try and remember. I haven't used it in a while. So this is XAMPP, which is a local thing. Although I would like to do a big shout out to Bear XAMPP or whatever it's called now, who's actively developing a new version. Anyway, anywhere where you have PHP installed, whether it's on your local or in your server, it has this PHP ini file. Some hosts don't give you access to it. I'm going to open it and I'm going to show it to you anyway, so that you can understand what happens. So all of these are options in PHP. So, and this is a comment, is the semicolon. So now I've got this. Now these options are back in play. Now if I turn that to on, I've changed the option for that. Now if I save it, what will happen is PHP will take that new option. So there's loads of things in here. If I look for zip, will that be in here? No, it's not. So it's not in here, but there will be things in here like output buffering. So output buffering is an option you saw me change in my cPanel. If it didn't have it, I could change it here if you've got access to it, as well as max execution time. There you go. So there, I could change that to something. So this one is already on. Obviously, some of them are on by default, but all of these, although they might not look like they're on, some of them are these are just comments, and that's a comment. But this one is not. This one is a setting, and same with this one. It's a setting. So that's PHP init. Like I said, most hosts won't necessarily give it to you. I know that SiteGround prefers you to work this way, um, but my host does not prefer me to work this way, so they're all different. Also, this is because it's a local. This is a real the kind of root PHP ini file. You can also create like a PHP ini file in your public HTML, for example. If I create a PHP ini file here, sometimes it overrides the original one, but it doesn't need to have like every single setting. So if you see your PHP ini file and it hasn't got some of these things, it might be that you need to add it. So just have a Google for whatever setting it is and how to add it. Or it might be that you're in an override file and that's why it looks like there's quite a lot less. Don't panic, it's fine, it's just an override. And that, my friends, I believe, is all the information I've got to give you. So I hope you found this quite comprehensive. I know I went into quite a lot of detail. I'm hoping that it's really, really useful for people in the future. And I'm hoping that it saves you a lot of time because I know for a fact I've been Googling around things and it's taken me ages to work out what things were. And quite simply, putting debug on straight away would give you the biggest clue you can possibly have. So that's the key takeaway. Big thanks to who is it who told me that? God, my brain is mush. Sorry, I've been working a lot. I'll put his name in the video comments. I remember it. I remember his face. Nice name right now. So yeah, I hope that helps. Please do like. Please do subscribe. Please do write in the comments. Hopefully this was quite thorough. Hopefully you don't need it all. So use the timestamps to try and get to the bits that you do need. But if you've tried all of these things and you're still not finding that it's working, write something in the comments. Don't forget you've also got Joomla Stack Exchange, which can help you. You've got the Joomla forum that can help you. If you go on Mattermost and log in, sign up to an account, A, you can get help from people who are experts in Joomla, and B, you can sign up to be a volunteer. If you are asking for help, think about how you could help someone else first. If you could volunteer or do something for someone in return for getting that help, that would be a great approach rather than just take. Where else can you get help? Facebook group. There's an active Facebook group where you can get help. And there are a few Discord groups and Slack groups as well, which are a bit more under the radar. But again, not a bad idea if you're in Discord and that's what you like using. There are some options there as well. I don't think they're official groups, but they've still got a lot of very knowledgeable people in them, so you might find help there. I would probably start with the Joomla Stack Exchange because I find that to be a really useful tool in terms of like finding a problem and getting an answer and it being there for life. So in the future when I need it, when I Google it, it's still there. So that's what I would do. Okay, guys, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, send me money, send me girlfriends, sisters, wives, whatever you want to send, I'll take it. Thanks, bye.